Infighting already detected at the level of the Southwest Regional Assembly even before their first ever budgetary session. In a communique viral on social media, the president of the Southwest Executive Assembly seizes power to all public pronouncements with regards to the functioning of the Regional Assembly and bans other members of the Assembly from doing so. And Cameroonians are becoming impatient with the repeated road accidents that are claiming lives in several parts of the country. Most of them say the problem must be solved and those incompetent officials in charge of the private sector or the transport sector in Cameroon sent out of government. They were speaking as 7 other persons were confirmed dead in a road accident on the National Road number 5 between the cities of Bafoussam and Douala. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining Equinoxe Television on our primetime newscast coming live from our central news desk in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. We begin with human interest to say that 7 persons have been confirmed dead on the National Road number 5 in a village known as Kombe, a village in Banga subdivision in the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. They were involved in a road accident involving an interurban transport agency belonging to the original Bambutus travel agency that came on a head-on collision between that vehicle and a truck transporting drinks to the city of Douala. Simat Njikangebe tells us that 5 persons died on the spot and 2 others were confirmed dead in the hospital in Banga.
The Banga District Hospital in the Mongo Division received 33 cases of injured persons in the accident which occurred at Kombe on the National Road number 5 Thursday. Out of the 33 persons, the head of the emergency unit at the Banga District Hospital said 13 whose cases were critical were later referred to other hospitals within the Mongo Division. Those remaining at the hospital, the district medical officer says they were responding to treatment.
We have taken care of them. Some of patients we have sent them to special hospital for better management. Those who are still there, we are taking care of them, so they are it's okay for now.
According to witness, the accident along the National Road number 5 this Thursday was provoked by a coaster that was traveling to the west region from Douala as it wanted to overtake another car. As a result of that, it had a head-on collision with an onrushing truck transporting brewery products. Descending to Douala on the spot, 5 persons died. Some of those injured say it's a miracle for them to be alive.
I just found myself lying on the road. I don't even know how I came out from the car. So I just believe it's by His grace, because if you ask me that I should tell you what happened, I don't really know. I don't even know how I find myself out of the car. I just realized I was on the tar. Brazaris also was in high speed, so the both vehicles were in the high speed.
For us, circulation was perturbed at Kombe village due to the accident. The divisional officer of Mbanga was also present at the scene of the incident.
I want to also use this opportunity to sensitize our population, to sensitize the users of this road to be more vigilant. I want to call on the different families to take heart and to go to the Banga district hospitals to follow the normal procedures to identify the corpse.
A total of 7 persons have this far been reported dead as a result of the accident. 5 died on the spot Thursday, while 2 others died in the night of Thursday, breaking Friday.
The road accident on the national road number 5 in the village of Kombe. Kombe is a village in Banga subdivision of the Mungo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. The accident on Banga came less than 24 hours after another road accident on that national road number 5, but this time around in the Menua division of the west region of Cameroon. The accident on La Falaise Chang, that is the Chang Cliff, popularly known as La Falaise Chang, saw 5 persons dying on the spot. Several other persons got severely wounded and were rushed to hospital facilities in the Menua division and other divisions of the west region of Cameroon. Attending to those wounded victims, the district medical officer of the Chang district hospital called on the government of Cameroon to equip the hospital with technical equipment. He says the hospital has been reputed for receiving emergency cases of those involved in road accidents on that infamous stretch of the road, that is La Falaise Chang. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more in the following report.
These are some of the survivors of the most recent fatal road accident registered on La Falaise in Chang Highway in the Menua Division West region. They are currently receiving treatment at the Chang District Hospital. The bus, which left Buda for Douala, ended up midway after experiencing a brake failure. While we were descending the cliff, we heard some persons screaming, "Fire! Fire!" So the driver had to stop the vehicle. He asked all of us to step down. After changing the tires, he asked us to get back into the car. A few minutes later, the accident occurred. 5 persons died on the spot, while 18 others were injured. Out of the 18 injured victims, 6 of them were severely injured. On the accident scene, the minibus is in a state of beyond repair, with some of the items which it carried littered on the tar. The director of the hospital explains that the hospital is in need of additional medical equipment for them to better handle such emergency cases. La Falaise in Chang is noted to have registered several road accidents.
The national road number 5 becoming as deadlier as the national road number 3. It should be recalled that the national road number 5 is the road linking the city of Douala in the littoral region and the city of Bafoussam in the west region of Cameroon. Is just as disturbing as the stretch of the national road number 3, that is the stretch linking the city of Douala to that of Yaoundé, and Cameroonians say officials involved in the transport sector, especially those working directly on the highway, should be sent out of government if they are not able to ensure that travelers to different parts of Cameroon arrive their different destinations safely. And I will talk something else, but still on a very sad page, to say that the family of young Dylan is a young man assassinated in Koto Sheferi, Koto village of Bonamosadi in the Douala 5 subdivision over a year ago. The family says they are still seeking for justice for their young child assassinated by individuals who are still moving around freely in Koto in Bonamosadi. Charles Ekome tells us more in the following report.
This is the story of the death of the young Kubeto Dylan, who gave up the ghost a year ago. The death of this lad continues to bring indignation among inhabitants of the Koto Sheferi neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision. According to sources, the young Dylan Kubeto died after being severely beaten by a disgruntled neighbor who accused him of theft, says his brother Kaji Frank. It all began around midday when my younger brother was playing with his friend, who told the neighborhood that a certain Mr. Carlos, who is a neighbor, called for him to wash his motorbike. My younger brother washed his motorbike, but was later accused by Mr. Carlos that he had stolen his mobile phone. He further explains how his late brother dies. He dragged him into his house and locked the door while holding the piece of plywood. Kids in the neighborhood who were watching started shouting and saying Mr. Carlos is going to get Dylan beaten today very well because of the manner in which he was holding the plywood. My brother was beaten to death and he confessed when he got home. He said, "Dad and Mom, Mr. Carlos has beaten me with so many accessories and I am going to die." He fell down on the floor and gave up the ghost. In the midst of sorrow, the family of a deceased filed a complaint at the Gendarmerie unit in Logbesu as ordered by the divisional officer of Douala 5 subdivision. But the story later turned out to be a twisted affair, as the father of a deceased was equally accused of having a hand in his son's death by forces of law and order, an accusation which he vehemently denies. They had no proof. I even asked the competent authorities why they did not descend on the field to conduct an in-depth investigation. Even my late little boy's friends are still in the neighborhood, but yet they didn't pay attention to what I was saying. The mother, on her part, says that she has personal problems with the family of Mr. Carlos because of the proposal which they made to her and her husband. We are angry because one night the family of Mr. Carlos came here with forces of law and order. They proposed that they will arrange for the funeral. It got me mad because we are talking of the life of my son, who wasn't even sick, and ever since that family has been torturing my husband and I. The death of the young Dylan Kubeto is still setting confusion within the context of a slow judicial procedure. As at now, administrative authorities are yet to find a date for a court hearing.
And murdered over a year ago seek justice for their murdered child. Inhabitants of the city of Kribi in the Ocean Division of the South region of Cameroon are crying the problem of difficult access to potable drinking water. They say despite the fact that Kribi is located at a seaside, they are facing difficulties to have good quality water to drink. Details with Immaculate Fogwe in the following report.
A devastating water crisis hit the Kribi seaside resort. For days, taps have not been flowing. Majority of inhabitants have to cover very long distances in order to have access to doubtful sources. Many of them decried exorbitant bills served to them at the end of the month. I left Vuamanga to come and fetch water here. It is terrible. We have been suffering like this for days. Our taps have not been flowing for days. We now rely on doubtful sources because we have no other choice. The problem of water scarcity was raised during a municipal council session. The senior divisional officer for the Ocean Division, No Bello, who was part of the council session, urged councillors to collaborate with the mayor so the quality of projects carried out is ameliorated. He equally called on municipal councillors to set aside their differences and work for the good of the community. While waiting for the council to address the water crisis, inhabitants continue to suffer.
Immaculate Fogwe reporting from Kribi in the Ocean Division of the South region of Cameroon. We take you from the South region to the Southwest region, where the Southwest Regional Executive President Elango Zaccheaus Bakoma has seized all powers to public pronouncements with regards to the management of the affairs of the Regional Council. In a communique that is going viral on social media, the president warns all media organs from receiving pronouncements on the functioning of the institution from every other person apart from himself, the executive president, or persons directly ordered by him, the president. He, in that same communique, says that all the other persons pronouncing or making declarations on behalf or all other declarations made by any other person without due authorization on the functioning of the Southwest Regional Assembly is null and void. The president further called on the people of the Southwest region to be calm. He says the president of the region, that is the Southwest Executive Council, informs public opinion, that is as the wordings of the communique, that he informs public opinions, especially officials of the private public media organs as well as those of the audiovisual press organs, that only the president of the Regional Executive Council or his duly appointed representatives are authorized to make public pronouncements and declarations on behalf of the Southwest Regional Assembly. Consequently, all public declarations contrary to the letter and the spirit of the present release is considered null and void. The communique from the Southwest Regional Executive Council President has gone viral, provoking different forms of reactions on social media in Cameroon. It should be recalled that it is coming shortly after the date for the first ever budgetary session of the council was slated. In another communique released by the same president, it will be the first ever key on the field action taken by the assembly since its institution. It should also be noted that recently one of the key members of the institution, who is at the same time the president of the Southwest House of Chiefs, Chief Atem Ibako, made some stunning declarations indicating that the institution was however powerless because they had not been given power by the central administration in Yaoundé to go about their affairs. The declarations that came in that same light from the West region of Cameroon provoked a lot of media reports in Cameroon. We shall be coming back to this particular information on subsequent editions of information on Equinoxe Radio and television, and even on our debate programs. And now we talk something else, the problem of education, to say that stakeholders in the East region of Cameroon are mobilizing to make a positive balance sheet of the academic year 2020-2021. They also met recently to be able to see how to get better performance for their learners ahead of official examinations coming up. Charles Ekome tells us more in the following report.
The almost ended 2020-2021 academic year hasn't been an easy ride for principals of secondary and high schools in the East region in regards to health preventive measures in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Hand sanitizers are very expensive in the market. If you have a staff of about 100 people and one hand sanitizer costs 1,000 francs, it means you'll be spending 100,000 francs just for hand sanitizers. With the upsurge of the COVID-19 pandemic, we spend a lot on resources to respect barrier measures. Despite the scarcity of means, everything has been put in place to ensure that these barrier measures are respected, especially now when official examinations are set to begin soon, says the regional delegate of secondary education, Bejabo Simplice. Barrier measures continue to be strictly respected. If you get to the classrooms, you will see that there are face masks available as well as equipment for washing of hands. Social distancing is also maintained. Just a few weeks to the official examinations for the 2020-2021 academic year, the principal of schools in the East region met with the regional delegate of secondary education for the region to table down their problems and challenges. Our goal is to have transparent examinations. We don't want the East region to be associated with examination frauds. We also want to improve academic results in the region. I urge the principals of various schools to work hard by ameliorating results so that the East region can leave a positive remark on national standings. All that said, the task ahead for these educationists will be the effective preparation of the official examinations set to begin weeks ahead.
And now we talk sports, basketball in this edition of the Primetime Newscast, as information got in by our studio so far says that FAP Basketball Club of the nation's political capital city, Yaoundé, has been eliminated from the African Basketball League. The representative of the nation, Cameroon, in this competition played a total of 4 goals, that is recording 1 victory, and they played a total of 4 games, recording 1 victory and 3 losses. Their elimination now leaves 4 clubs which will dispute the semi-finals of the African Basketball Championship. The clubs are already gaming up to represent their different countries. The 4 clubs so far represent countries in Northern Africa, some of the countries in Southern, and some of the Eastern African nations. There are 4 that are left in the competition. Cameroon's lone representative in the competition, FAB Basketball of Yaoundé, Cameroon, has been eliminated from the competition. A rather sad news for the nation, Cameroon. Coming up is Talking Point. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We are receiving Chancho Clinton. We are receiving a human rights advocate, and we shall be talking about the rights cases in Cameroon, with more focus on the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Chancho Clinton, thanks for accepting our invitation.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here to talk on the human rights and the situations that is happening both in the northwest and southwest. So, as a country representative of the African Caribbean Pacific Diaspora Support Service, which I'm representing it in Cameroon. So, as a gender advocate, what we'll talk about the situation which is happening in the northwest and southwest. It is something that is very critical. And what we are trying to do is we are making sure that...
That is, yes. I just want you, first of all, to give me an overview from your own perspective. You know that you are not the only rights group that is focused on the issues in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We have the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa of Agbobala already. We have other rights groups like Human Rights Watch and others. And they have given their reports, consistently giving reports on the rights situation in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Have you guys already, at least at one point in time, even before the start of, in the course of this crisis, published a report on the situation in the 2 Anglophone regions?
Yeah, we have done that. I think there was a conference which happened in 2020, which is last year, which the organization attended in the European Union, which is based in Belgium. Yes, they had to report the case. But today we are trying to see how a situation can be put in place so that those in the northwest and southwest to receive justice. All
right, what you compiled in terms of right abuses were sent to the entire world through that event, that avenue that you got in Belgium, right?
Yeah.
And now Cameroonians want to know from the perspective of your rights group, how critical is the situation in the 2 Anglophone regions?
The critical is very worst and very bad, because instead for us to see how the situation and how the peace can reign between the 2 regions, but we see that the situation is very, very getting worse. And what we are trying to do is, what we are trying to put in place is that we are trying to make sure that all those children, especially because the situation that is happening in the northwest and southwest, they are being raped, they are being tortured, and they are being beaten to death, and most of the innocent people are dying. So what we are trying to compile, put in place, is to make sure that those people should receive justice.
Yes, those whose rights have been trampled upon should receive justice. How do you intend to do that?
What we try to intend to do that, we are making sure that we are working with hand with the UN, we are working with hand with international bodies like One Youth Africa, to make sure that this situation should be looked into place, because over there in
should be looked into.
Yes, should be looked into. Then over there in Belgium, they are making sure they are doing all their possible best to make sure that let them look into the situation.
Clinton, yes. Cameroonians want to know, when you say you want to get justice for the people who are suffering for those suffering in the north and southwest regions of Cameroon is interesting. I think those who suffered a few days ago in several villages there will want to say like, oh, a Redeemer is coming, or a Messiah is coming finally. But when I ask how, you say you are reporting to the UN. Are you telling the people that the UN, from their lenses, have not been able to see the situation in the northwest and southwest region? Do they really want you rights group to tell them?
Yeah, they are really doing their possible best, and they are making sure, and I believe that in time the situation will be put in place. Because
the argument is that some people think that the international organizations like the United Nations, the African Union, and sub-regional organizations know the truth. They've been seeing what is happening. They are not just willing to help. Is that true? Working with them, have you seen the will? Have you seen the desire? Have you seen the anxiety for them to help resolve the human rights situation in the Anglophone regions?
Yeah, I have seen the way, the effort that they are putting, because I'm working with them day and night to make sure, and with such people too, we have to make sure that we have to put pressure on them too. Yes, so far when we put more pressure on them, I think a reaction will be taken to place. And for that, I promise the Cameroonians who are watching us, and I promise that the situation will be taken in place. We'll be looking into it.
Who puts the pressure? You rights groups, the people in the affected people. Who puts the pressure?
The rights group.
Yes, and how do you go about it?
We go about it because how we go about it is because I think that they have emails, and I think that there are people who are very connected to them, and there are a lot of ways which we can meet in them in person, because I believe with the meeting like the conferences that the country, the ACP dies that organize, I believe that they meet with international bodies, both the UN, both other bodies, which they are there to make sure that the situation in the northwest should be looked into it.
I will go a little bit back to something you said. You said one of the key actions that you've taken so far vis-a-vis the situation is that you took the matter to the United Nations during an encounter you had with some of the key members in Belgium. What did they do? What was the reaction? And what has been the impact? What has been the outcome of that report that you took to that level so far?
Yeah, I think that when we posed the problem to them, they had to look into the case, and you know that with such people they always need evidence, which we had to show them and make sure that they see that we are not here to come and fix stories. We are here to make sure that things should be done the way it has to be done. So what the things that also we have also put in place, yes, we are communicating with I think with the ambassador, the ambassador which was being sent in Belgium. I think that with those others that are representing us that are over there, I think that they will do their best.
And you said some of one of the strategies you guys are using, which seem to be different, is that you are targeting young people in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. How is that being done?
Yeah, we are targeting those young, especially the youth, because we have seen that they are the ones who suffer the most, because with the situation that has happened after the burning of the houses, the destruction of everything which left them homeless. So what we are trying to do is we are making sure that they should also benefit from what we are doing, because I think in the beginning of June we'll have to look for a day to pay time and visit the displays and the phones.
And in reality, on a human rights perspective, when you say you want to help, that no massive returns, and at the same time you say you are targeting the young people. They are not the only decision makers in the crisis. They are not the ones. The crisis not only dependent, or the ending of the crisis is not only dependent on the young people. They are key stakeholders who are older people. At the level of the separatist movement, we have people who are not young people. Young people might be the people on the field, but we have those who give them instructions are not young. At the level of the government, those who give instructions are not young people. Why are you people ignoring these key stakeholders?
I can say we are not ignoring them, and we cannot do that, because we are trying to make sure that peace should reign in both regions, because we don't like the situation that is happening now, because people are dying every day. And when they are dying every day and those rights groups that have been there, they see it and nothing is being done, we feel very bad. So we, this on the other side of the separatists, which are the young youth, we are doing our possible best to make sure to convince them that holding the gun is not the best way. Instead, bringing peace between the both parties should be the best.
Just that, like telling them, you intending to tell them that this is it. Now when they say, some who argue in some of the reports we've had the opportunity to do that, I got into the bush because our house was burnt down. I got into the bush because I lost my parents. I got radicalized because of this, because of that. I want justice. Some will say they cannot be peace without justice. What will you have as a human rights defender and advocate to say in that?
Yeah, what the steps I will take is I have to work with the leaders which are here in Cameroon, the leaders which I have to work in hand with them to make sure that peace should reign, to make sure and to see that those people who are in the bushes should come out and find peace.
Since we want practical modalities, practical strategies, how do you people intend to achieve this, which is of interest? You just it looks so unreal, like to just say that we're going to be working with these people, we're going to be doing this. How do you intend to do this? Because I indicated at the start of our chat that you are not the only rights group interested in the issue in the north and southwest regions of Cameroon. People to trust and know that you can at least make a difference. You must also be different in strategy. You must also be different in how you go about on the field.
Yeah, though it would not be easy for me, would not be easy for the groups, for the rights groups, but we are working in hand to make sure, though it's not easy, but we are putting in place. There are things that we are working with on, and I believe that with God in our midst we will achieve that. You, apart from the human rights abuses, you also said that some at point you guys go down to put a keen interest on gender-based violence. Yeah. And how is that done? How are you helping to resolve that problem? What we are trying to resolve is the most important thing with the gender violence. We have to, like, for example, to re-educate, which means that we have to identify what will cause that gender violence. We have to discover the root of the problems. Then before we come together to see how a solution can be put to place. In the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, based on what you must have observed, who are in terms of gender, who are those who suffer the most on the from the crisis, as in having their rights violated the most? Both of them, they do suffer, both the men and women, because when we talk of gender, we believe gender concerns male and female. So when we talk of gender violence, all of them, both men and women, they die. Even the innocents, they die. So both of them, they do suffer, both the male and female. Perpetrated by who on who? Both parties, the government and the separatist fighters. You started the government earlier on. When I listened to you, I got the impression that you guys are only interested in talking to the separatists to say that, oh, okay, you guys should drop your weapons. That's already the strategy of the government. The government has gotten a DDR center, for example, DDR centers where they get to convince the young people, or to welcome people who have opted to deposit their weapons and not fight again to come. It's a message of the government: drop the weapons, drop the weapons. You must have also a message, or if you've got this same message to the other camp, you must also have a message to the other camp, which is the government. Okay, what I will also tell the government is that let them try to look into the situation. Let them try to listen to the people in the northwest. They have a lot of things to say. Let them even sit and listen to what they will say, because it is very important. Listening to someone's view, which you know very well they are dying behind. It is very important, because if the government comes down and speak to the people, to the population, I think that the government will find a solution towards it. We should not be ignorant of what we are doing. So I will plead and beg the government that let them try to look on the situation. I'm even ready to work in hand with them to see how we can find a lasting solution towards the problems.
Of course, you people are doing that by already advocating to give justice to
the people,
to the victims in the Northwest and Southwest region. Though it's not very clear on how you're going to do it. Apart from what we got, that you intend to take the message, take their voices, and take their worries. How do you then collect the data? It looks like most of your partners are not in Cameroon. How do you collect the data that you intend forward to institutions, international institutions, as evidence that rights abuses are being recorded on daily basis in the two Anglophone region?
Yeah, I think that also with the international bodies, they are also watching what is happening in Cameroon, and I think that most of my colleagues, which they are not here, most of them are based abroad. They are based in Belgium, based in UK, they are based all over the world. Even some of the representatives, they are all over the world. So what the data we use, like the things we fight for, we have them. Even the TV, the things, even on social media, it is there, it is being published. So I think that social media is really a weapon where it's very easier for us to use.
All right, our human rights advocate Chang Cho Clinton, before you leave us, you surely has something to say in terms of strategy, in terms of helping to remedy the situation. We are about to go. What is your last word?
Okay, my last word, which I will tell the people, which and I'm ready to receive the young youth, which they are ready to work with me. And like I said earlier, I'm the country representative, which I'm representing Cameroon, which the organization is based in Belgium and all over the world, and is registered under the Flemish of social organization, which is registered under the government in Belgium. And the main initiative or the core objective of it is to make sure that we achieve our self-realization and re-educate the youth. And with the vision of the organization is to make sure that,
yes, re-educating the youth on what you already said,
yeah,
like they embracing peace and not going the weapon way, the gun way, the gun smoking way.
Yeah.
And apart from Cameroon, you guys also had interest in some other places.
Yeah, we have so much places like what is happening to in Nigeria. We don't focus on one. Like if you see in Nigeria, there's insecurity, and I think there are also representatives that are based there in Nigeria. So I think all of us, we are working in hand.
Changshu Clinton, thanks very much for being our guest tonight.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying with Equinoxe Television. That was all we had time for as far as information is concerned on today's edition of News. Stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe.